Okay, so at the top of your notes, you should see two things that you have to fill out, topic and essential question. So you do have to write those down. Everybody should have topic is dichotomous keys. Essential question, how can dichotomous keys be used to identify organisms based on their structures? And I'll just wait till I see pencils down because I do want you to get the entire question written. Okay, so when we're looking at dichotomous keys, usually we're talking about classification or characteristics or structures that organisms have. And as scientists, we like to organize information because it's just easier to learn about things. It's easier to find things. It's easier to share your information if it's organized in a specific way. So the first slide, it kind of has a connection to dichotomous keys, but it also is related to your project that we talked about yesterday. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to put this up here because I had a lot of people saying, hey, can I do my project on a scorpion, or can I do my project on a wolf or whatever? But you need to be very specific. If you want to do a wolf, well, you kind of need to know exactly what type of wolf you want to research, because as you can see at the very top, we have our broadest classification on the screen is kingdom. We could go even higher with domain, and we've talked about those. And then it moves down to the bottom to where you can see the classifications get very specific. And so I just want you to look at this because you have to include genus and species as part of your project, right? And so if you say, well, I want to do a dog as my example, or I want to do a wolf, well, you can see here, our wolf and our chihuahua, they're underneath the same genus, okay? They're classified in that same category as at the genus level. So you are not specific enough. If you want to do a wolf, you need to decide. For example, on the screen, I have a gray wolf, and that would be Canis lupus. So when you're doing your research, you can't just type in wolf. Now, you might to see a list of species, okay? But you, in order to do the rest of your research, deciding all of the specifics about your organism, you need to decide exactly what species of wolf you're going to research. So I would look for Canis lupus and then focus my project on it. Or, for example, somebody was asking about scorpions yesterday, and I said, well, there's a lot of scorpions. We've got some here in Texas that are nothing like the emperor scorpions that can actually kill you. So you need to make sure that you're looking specifically at genus and species. Questions about that? Okay, all right, so we're moving on. So this is one way to organize information, but when we're looking at dichotomous keys, we're looking for, okay, what are the characteristics that I can group these organisms based on, okay? And usually they're looking for groups that they can put together based on similarities. How can I put, and you've kind of been doing this since pre-K. I always say you've been classifying objects and organisms since pre-K. You could tell your pre-K teacher, these are all the blue squares, these are all the red triangles, okay? All you have to do is find the similarities about something and put them into groups. Okay, so when we're looking at dichotomous keys, oh, by the way, I always have my vocabulary words in red. So if you look at your notes, that tiny column to the left-hand side of your page, you put just the word there, and then you can put like the definitions and the description and everything in the larger area where it just says notes. Okay, so a dichotomous key, it's a tool that scientists use, or that we will be using, to identify things in the natural world based on their characteristics. Okay, for dichotomous keys, it means that there are two parts. So at each step in your dichotomous key, you're going to be faced with two choices. Okay, so for example, I have, black and white. If I was looking at a dichotomous key for bears, I might have, does it have black fur? Does it have white fur? Okay, so notice that each step is often opposite of each other, so you know which way to keep following. And just note on your notes, never try to copy every word on the screen, because you're not going to have time, and good notes point out the specific information and not just, There's not enough room. And for most people, it's not going to be enough room, especially if you have big handwriting like me. I'm a big handwriting kind of person. Okay. Remember, if you ever feel like you missed something, there's going to be a copy at the end for you to look at. Okay. All right. So when we're looking at a dichotomous key, you need to understand what is structure, what is a characteristic. Do we know what a characteristic is? Who can explain to me what is a characteristic?
Have ears? No.
Yeah. I've got ears. Well, you could also talk about outer ears, because like if we're comparing organisms, a snake, are you going to see the ears of a snake? No, it has ears, but they're kind of built in. So you could talk about inner or external ears. So a characteristic is just something that's used to describe an organism. Okay, a structure. It's very similar to what we were just talking about with the ears. How are the ears built? Are they built inside so that you can't see them from the outside? Or are they like people where you can actually see the structure of the ear from the outside? My example on the screen is a ladybug. If I was looking at a dichotomous key that identifies insects based on their structures, you might have a step that says wings, or wings covered with an exoskeleton. And here our ladybug has an exoskeleton covering its wings. Okay, so here's an example of a dichotomous key. So notice that at each step, again, we have two choices. What are my first two choices?
Make seeds, don't make seeds.
Make seeds or don't make seeds. Okay, so if I say, okay, I'm looking for a plant that makes seeds and has flowers, what am I looking for? Which one actually is it? Sunflower. The sunflower, right? So if I'm looking at plants, well, makes seeds, has flowers, it's a sunflower. So you see, it's just a way that scientists use a tool to identify, in this case, a plant by its characteristics. Of course, this is a very simplified version. Okay, so it can look like this, but it can also look more like a table. So the next one, it has steps. It has 7 steps, and in each step, there's 2 choices. Okay, so if we were going to identify leaf A, well, does it have needle leaves or non-needle leaves? Non-needle leaves. So where am I going to go?
3.
I'm going to go to 3. All right. Does it have a simple leaf or a compound leaf?
Simple leaf.
Simple leaf. Okay. So where am I going to go?
4.
4. Okay. So next, does it have smooth edges or jagged edges?
Smooth edge.
Smooth. So where am I going?
5.
5. Okay. Leaf edge, is it smooth or lobed? By the way, do you know what lobed means? Do you get that?
Like bouncy.
Yeah, like bouncy. That's a good way to put it. Look at F. It has lobes, like an earlobe. Okay, like how it hangs down. That's what it means by lobed. So do we have smooth or lobed?
Smooth.
Smooth. So what do we have? It's a magnolia leaf. It's really just that simple. You just choose a choice at each step and follow it until you reach the name of your organism. Okay? So that's it. It really was just that quick and easy. So look at your notes, look at my notes, decide if you're missing something. Okay? Again, your notes do not have to match mine perfectly. You do have to have notes. You should have all of the vocabulary listed. But what you write down is up to you. Okay?
There's supposed to be more than that.
Hmm?
There's only those 3 different